What's going on, watch friends? This is welcome to another episode of Talking Timepieces with Tony. This is kind of an emergency quick video I'm doing for one of my viewers, David Parrish. So this is basically, how to start a luxury watch collection, and he asked a rather good question. And this is an issue I think a lot of people have when it comes to watches, and so essentially, let's just roll the intro and let's talk.
Watching Timepieces with Tony. Talking Timepieces with Tony.
Okay, so this comes from my viewer David Parrish. Not only is he a viewer, he's a frequent commenter. He follows me on Instagram and social media, and he's always super kind. And from what I know about David, he's very successful. He's a producer for NBC, I believe the nightly news in Chicago. You're a Bears fan. What? And so, but here's the question. I actually hand wrote it out since I didn't have a printer handy today. And basically he says, today I walked 7 miles listening to loop of Talking Timepieces with Tony. I appreciate it. I really do. I feel like a fraud as a human being. I have 2 kids in college, a mortgage, and we sink our money into 1 vacation a year. So my watch budget isn't much. Neither is my guitar budget, but I got a new Strat for Christmas. Can't go wrong with that. Japanese, Chinese, Mexican Strat, American Standard. Anyway, I'm just not sure how to turn legit. My watches, 40 in total, are not worth much. I've never spent or had more than $500 to spend on a watch. I have Bulova, endless homage watches, Omegas, subs, too many Invictas from when I was a total idiot. Don't say you're an idiot, dude. It's all good. I've been feeling down on myself lately and feeling like my collection is total crap, but they make me happy in a way, and I don't care if they get damaged. So my real question to you is, how do you start a real collection and stay married? All right, man. There's a lot going on there. And first and foremost, in my opinion, you've done everything in life right. You've got a solid career you've been doing for quite some time. You're a television producer, right? For a major network. You're married. You've been married for quite some time, 20 years, I believe, or 20-something years. You have 2 kids you're putting through college. And, you have a mortgage. You're a homeowner. You're doing everything right. All right? So don't ever, think for a minute, because you've got, I look at guys like you and I envy that, because I don't have any of that myself. So it's like a two-way thing, right? So me, I grew up a totally different type of life than you probably did, but still in the entertainment industry, so, and I am drinking beer. So, and first and foremost, and I don't want you to think, and I don't know if you're doing this, but watching people like me or my channel or anyone else's channel, don't let that influence you into thinking you are less because you don't have a proper luxury watch. Okay, because it's just a watch, you know what I mean? That's all it is. It's not really, in the grand scheme of things, that important. What you're doing in life right now is far more important than any watch. One of the things you said is you've got too many of these watches, but they bring you joy. And that is, again, more important than having, spending $20,000 on a luxury watch and being stressed out because you spent that much money on a watch, excuse me. So, yeah, it's balancing it out, okay? And there's a ton of people in your position when it comes to watches. So having said that, again, all what I've said is, I've been in your position too, in a sense, where I've had a bunch of just few $100 watches, and then it's breaking that, it's breaking through that seal of it's like jumping into the deep end. You spent your whole life swimming in the shallows of the water, and you're comfortable with it, but the deep end is a little bit darker, and you're not sure. You know how to swim, but you're just not sure how to sort of conquer that deep end, right? Make sense? So this is what you got to do, man. Take the watches, for one, that you don't wear anymore. Keep the ones that mean something to you. I watched your video. I believe you had a Fossil that means something to you. That's a cool watch. I've had Fossil too. And you had a Bulova that was pretty cool. Your Invictas are your Invictas. You know, I'm not gonna. You know, a lot of people are just total haters. I can join that club too, but at the same time, if they make someone happy, then who is anybody to try to judge you for that? If you know what I mean? It's like, you know, F the haters, man. Simple as that. Don't listen to anyone, all right? But this is what you got to do. Take the watches you don't wear first and foremost. See if you can sell them, or if you want to sell them, or if it means anything to you to sell them. If you spent $500 on a watch, but you only get $50 for it, freaking sell it, especially if you're not wearing it, right? Make sense? You just got to do it. You have to learn how to just take your losses and cut them and get the shit out of your life that you don't need, right? Second of all, focus on what is it that you do want, right? I mean, Patek Philippe, it's not going to happen, right? A top tier, you know, Rolex, you know, is not going to happen right away, you know? So you want to start a little bit small. You've got to break that you got to sort of bust that nut, man. When you've only been spending, you're comfortable, you have a comfort zone in what you're spending, and you've been in that comfort zone for quite some time. So you know you can spend $500, you know you can spend $300. It's real easy to go to some of these websites and look at these $300 to $500 watches and go, that's a pretty watch, but it doesn't fulfill your need to want a luxury watch, right? A true luxury watch. You can have an homage watch of a Patek Philippe. It's still never going to fulfill that void that you have in your soul for wanting a Patek Philippe or a Rolex or an Omega or whatever it is. Pick a watch you want. And then first and foremost, decide, you know, what's your style? Because you got to start with one watch at a time, man. That's where you got to go. You know, with what I know about you and what I've seen, I would say something sport, not too sporty, but sport dress. Let's talk about an Omega Speedmaster, you know, say about $7,000. Can you do that? We can do that, right? This is how you're going to do it. Doesn't have to be a Speedmaster. It could be a Seamaster. It could be any brand, but let's start at about the $5,000 and, well, let's say $10,000 and lower, but not really lower than $5,000. Let's say between $5,000 and $7,000 maybe, or $5,000 and $8,000. You have a lot of commitments. I understand that, but you have to find a way. You budget. Obviously, you budget. You've got a wife. You've got 2 kids in college. You're taking care of a lot of stuff. First and foremost, get rid of the watches you don't want, wear, or whatever. Excuse me. This beer, I'm just drinking it a little fast. So set a budget of how much you're going to save out of each check or whatever you're going to do that. Now, you don't have to do it that way. I don't recommend financing or putting it on a credit card, but if you're responsible with your credit cards, then, you know, why not do it? Because you want to just get into your first one, but you want to do it without any stress, right? You want to buy it. The stress in itself is spending that much money for the first time. Never spent that much money on a watch. But do you remember from when you may have lived in a shitty apartment and you moved up to the next apartment, then when you bought your house, or I don't know what kind of car you drive, but let's say, you know what I mean? And then all these things that you've spent where you just go, I haven't spent that much money, but then you do it and you're comfortable with it. Me, I buy a watch, all of a sudden it's like, I'm cool with spending $10,000, $20,000, let's do it, you know what I mean? I'm stupid that way. So, but just try to be responsible about it. Pick a watch, pick one watch, focus on that watch, not something so far out of reach that you can't meet that goal, you know what I mean? Do what you can to put some money aside out of your paycheck or whatever, sell some stuff that you probably don't need or want or use or whatever, put that all towards the watch. Doing all of that, by the time you buy that watch, it's going to be, you know, more rewarding, you know, to you. Grateful, but it'll be more rewarding, and the process, you'll appreciate it more. Talk to your wife. Let her know, man, look, this is what I want to do. You say, and still stay married. You know what I mean? With all the watches you have that you spent $300-$500 on, could have added up to a Seamaster or whatever it is that you want. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to dip out of your pocket $500 than it is $5,000, right? So you just have to find a way that if you're going to either one, save for it, two, bust out your credit card, make sure you're responsible in paying that back, because you'll get more enjoyment out of that piece once you have it. Once you have it, having a luxury watch, there's nothing like it, you know, depending on, you know, what it is you have. It's like this, oh my God, you deserve it, man. You deserve it, dude. You work your ass off. You don't get to where you're at in life by not working your ass off and by not being, you know, by being irresponsible or anything like that. To me, you're the epitome of the person who actually really truly does deserve it. So just figure it out, you know, and I'm sure I'll get comments and other people on my channel that would comment to try to help, you know, give you their insight or their views too. Anyone who's commenting who's a hater on whatever it is, then don't comment. All right, simple as that. This is just, we're trying to help you know, David get a luxury watch without, you know, too much of a problem. Okay, once you get that watch, it just starts from there. You will find a way to start getting other watches. But having said that, I hope this helps, and I do appreciate all your comments and all your views, all the people who like and subscribe. You guys are awesome. All right, man, talk to you later.